Respect. Welcome back to Smitty's Corner. So, this episode is brought to you by Fair Use, Fair Use, Fair Use. Let's get back into it.
Calling them tethers?
Yes, by calling them tethers. Absolutely.
Hey, Tariq,
Good luck with that strategy.
Well, hey, what are they going to do about it?
Well,
It ain't
Tariq,
enough for y'all to stop it. So
Okay. Yes, it is.
Okay, let's stay here.
hey, Tariq, I have a question for you because I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
that, from a policy perspective, many of us can agree with some of the things that you're speaking of, right? The police violence and things that can be better in our communities. And this is our first time having a conversation. So I live here in Florida, and I am a Democratic Party strategist. Okay. So this cycle, I have my portfolio includes 68.
I don't know why. But why does that just sound very, very diabolical and just sinister? I don't know why. I mean, forgive me. I should not be judging right now. I should just shut my mouth. But I don't know why when she said I am a Democratic strategist. I don't know. It just sounds like she said I'm part of the demonic forces of the underworld. But that's just me. I don't know why my brain went there. Smitty, stop being so pessimistic, man. Think positive, sir. Sorry, I apologize.
Candidates running across Florida for various seats, from school board to the governor's mansion, right? And including congressional candidates also. And our primary here in Florida is in August. So right now we are in what I call the messaging platform, right? We're going into media, black media, on radio, black radio, and putting up TV ads or negotiating those contracts. And from a data perspective, I'll share with you, a lot of the items in this conversation are not on the, top 10 reasons for people to get out and vote. And
Okay, we're gonna hurry up and get past her. But anyway, listen. You know one thing, you know why I don't personally really like politics? Because I see how tribal it makes my people even more. We are already divided from gangs. We're divided from skin tone, light skin, dark skin. We're divided from good hair and nappy. We are divided from ghetto and who's prestigious in Harvard and Yale. You see, we have already so many different ways in which we can like group and squad up against each other. And it's amazing, even in politics, somehow or another, they keep us going back and forth at each other while we're wrestling and fighting. They're creeping up under the table, sneaking every goddamn thing from us and hiding out and going out the back door. I don't know why I'm the only one that sees it, man. Am I the only one that recognizes there isn't too much of a difference between a defense attorney and the district attorney? The prosecutor. There's not, because guess what? And a judge, because they all sit down at lunch and at banquets and little dinners and golf courses and all that stuff together. Same thing here. Am I the only one that recognizes that red or blue? I'm just trying. I don't know, people. Am I the only one that sees like, bro? I mean, I'm still seeing our young brothers and sisters passing away at a very early rate. I'm still seeing neighborhoods. If it's built up, it's only to move us out. It's not built up to keep us there. It's called gentrification. So when they gentrify it, they build it up and they raise the prices to the point where we can't afford to stay there. We're the ones that's been there, and it's to push folks out. Now, some would say that would be a good thing because those are those of us who you want to push out. So it all depends on the angle in which you look at these things, but let's keep going.
I think particularly it's because there are no conversations being had with the elected officials. Like, I applaud you guys for, organizing and planning to go to DC. I would also encourage you, as Luke was saying, to sit down and have these conversations with the elected officials that represent you and your home communities and are going to be present in DC as well. The reason being is because a lot of these campaigns are built off of data, and a lot of that data comes from grassroots messaging. And if we're not having the conversation with those that are in power to represent us, then we're doing a lot of stuff for naught. And like I said, a lot of things that you brought up, many of us agree with. But if we're not having the conversations with those that are elected, then we are giving them a pass to say, oh, I don't know about this, or this is.
My thing is this, right? You know what I noticed that any and everybody else does? They do the best that they can to start raising and breeding their children, to see the generations to come. They start educating and teaching. And we start mobilizing, as in movement, mobilize as in movement, in motion. We start mobilizing and we start actually getting in there. See, instead of keep trying to talk to the people who we obviously see will not change it, how about we just get into office and change it ourselves? I don't know. Am I the only one that's able to think logically? But oh yeah, that's right. We don't want really nothing too much to do because that's too much work. We already slander police so much. So instead of actually raise your kids and teach them the right way and have them become the police officers. Did you ever think about that? Have a whole generation or 2 or 3 come behind and let them. We may not be able to see the change, but see, that's called sacrifice. And that's what something that we lack wanting to do is sacrifice. We want to try to get all of the chips and have no losses. There will always be some form of casualty in war. And sometimes that casualty might be just the simple fact that you didn't get a chance to live long enough to see the change, but you are able to mobilize now and put things in motion for generations to come. That is how we are supposed to think. You are to leave behind a garden, as in there should be plenty full of fields for those that come behind us to pick from. Not empty, barren desert wasteland. But let's keep going.
Not an issue, or, as the young man was saying earlier, to, kind of be talked down to, like, oh, young man, go do some research or what have you. So.
My bad, y'all. God damn it, Jim.
The Biden administration finally agreed to ban Peter Daszak and EcoHealth
really
Alliance.
Could care less.
When you're going to DC, I would just ask, because I have clients that work in DC, have these meetings, have these conversations, because if nothing else, at least the dialogue puts it on their radar. And then as you're organizing in communities and the data starts to present, there is a movement behind these legislative issues, that it becomes more populous and more on the radar, and we can possibly get candidates to run the same platforms and actually elect people who are going to do the work.
Now, I will say that these elected officials, they are fully aware of what we want, and they know exactly what we talk about. As you know, they have data research specialists that sit online and literally monitor the vibes and the moods and the language and some of the trends that go on with these conversations. They are fully aware of who we are. They are fully aware of what we want. And the name of the game for them is to continue the benign neglect policy by promising us nothing, but still getting us to vote.
They probably do know exactly who you are, and that's why they sent Luke your way, my brother. That's why you and Luke are up there talking now. Because they know who you are. So what happens? We send in the distractions. They sent in distraction missiles. You smell me now? I don't know. Am I the only one that peeps game? I don't know why we keep on talking about we should do this and we should do that the whole time. We never talk about, you know what? We need to get ours in there to make the change. These people are not, look, I'm not going to keep going back and forth. Do y'all not know how many presidents ago by now we could have generations that was already set in motion to be in position, in certain positions, to make sure that things are done the way that we know they should be done. The right way, the proper way, right? A just way, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but let's keep rocking out.
The Black Lives Matter thing popping off some years back. There was a memo that was leaked. WikiLeaks leaked that memo from the DNC sending out talking points. And one of the talking points was talk to some of the Black Lives Matter activists, but make sure to not promise anything. Just listen to them and let them speak, but do not promise anything tangible. Do not promise any type of money or any type of resource. So that's the game they like to play. They want to talk and have these little listening sessions. I don't want to have a listening session. I want to have a check writing session. I want my check. We need money. They didn't have a listening section with Asians. They start giving them money and tangibles. They're not having listening sessions with some of the Hispanic families that were caught on the border. They start giving them money out here in California where I live. They're giving them all types of food, all types of financial resources, free medical resources that they don't give us. They're not talking.
Big facts. I was just speaking about that. I didn't even hear that part, by the way, you guys. I didn't. Yeah, I was just talking about that on part 1. It's all kind of free stuff going to illegal people, and here it is. You got folks right here who I'm talking about. Yes, like people on disabilities, people who definitely have certain mental health issues. Mental health. It's a lot. It's low funding in a lot of areas to accommodate people of mental health. So they just kind of leave them wandering on the streets, and then we wondering why people getting punched in their face for no reason, or crazy people running in the store naked and screaming and all kinds of wild stuff, because mental health is not being checked. The funding is going away from that, as well as the reparations for Black. It's funding going away from a lot of very, very key, important, detailed parts that we need to go ahead and fix. It's like these like huge potholes, man, that's like causing so much damage, But let's keep going.
About anything. They're just doing it. So this benign neglect policy, where we as Black people, if we have to get something, we got to just continue to spin our wheels and talk and sing and dance. That's over. They need to start writing them checks to us, or we will not vote for them, and we'll start a whole different political party if need be.
So I hear what you're saying.
You've been a reparationist for what, 5 years?
I don't even know what that means. Reparations for 5 years. What are you talking about, sir?
I said you've been active in the reparation space for what, 5 years?
No, a decade. If you go back to some of my tweets going back a decade, I've been talking about it. You go pull up an interview I did on The Breakfast Club in 2016, I've been talking about reparations. I've been talking about reparations. I've been ahead of this thing a long time, brother. You go to my movies, the Hidden Colors films that I did decades ago, or a decade ago, we were talking about one of the solutions being reparations. I've been on this wave, sir. This is not new at all for me.
Well, you were Pan-Africanist first. Come on now.
I respect my African brothers and sisters because I have African genetics, sir. I haven't denied being a person of African descent. I am also a foundational Black American, which makes me a very unique person, and I respect and honor my ancestral lineage. What's wrong with that, sir?
You ain't have to call them feathers, but I'll let it go. Go ahead, Nick.
So Tariq, I'll just share with you real quick because
I'm still kind of, I don't know, could somebody tell, what is a tether exactly? If you don't mind, if somebody can type down in the comment section or something, somebody help me out. What is a tether? I've looked it up. I'm still confused. But let's keep going.
Like I said, we were running this data, and I can only speak for Florida, right? That's where I'm at. And so, in percentage of our voters here and the issues that are on the ballot in our state right now, right? Housing is number one. That's an issue in our state. The cost of insurance is number 2. Food insecurity is number 3. These are the issues that voters are saying that are their priorities for this midterm election. Healthcare, infrastructure, public safety, environment, and they're broken down, 1, 2, 3% here and there for a few other issues. And that's, so I can tell you in my state, these are the issues that elected officials are going to be running on. They're going to be talking about the cost of housing, insurance, food insecurity, healthcare, infrastructure, public safety, environment. But there will be no dialogue in Florida around reparations.
Okay.
Not this cycle.
Okay. And here's the thing. There's not no popularity, the whole LGBT thing, a lot of people are actually against that. A lot of people don't like a lot of the LGBT stuff being promoted on Netflix and Disney. Down in Florida, in Disneyland, there's LGBT flags all over the place. And I know a lot of people in Florida are just not with that, but they still get legislation passed for LGBT people. They still get tangibles passed for LGBT groups, even though I would say most people are against it. So if most people...
Yes, absolutely. I don't know how the letter community just like cut line. Let's just put it like that. They just butted in the line. And we're like, hey, hold on, wait a minute, hold on, hey, get back in line. And it just looked like it was like, no. And all right, okay, bad.
Or against something, that's not going to stop us from still campaigning and stumping for what we deserve and what we're supposed to get. Anti-Black racism is a very popular thing. We have a choice to go along with it or not go along with it. I'm not going along with it, and neither are some of our other brothers and sisters, just because they've tried to normalize that. We have to change the cultural lexicon of this anti-Black benign neglect policy that's been going on, where we're supposed to be an invisible group who don't get anything and everybody is prioritized over us. We're stopping that right now because we don't have time to wait anymore. So respect to what you do down there. That's a great thing, doing the data and getting all the research together. But we are going to stick to our guns and say we have to be prioritized as a foundational Black American lineage group.
Can I ask a question about data since Nikki was asking that question? Is that okay?